Excuse me, Dr. Mani, we can't hear you.
Unmute your mic, Dr. Muneeb.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am
Hello.
I am Dr. Muneeb Altaf, and today my topic of presentation is food fortification and adulteration under supervision of Professor Dr. Saira. So, nutrients. Nutrients are all the organic and inorganic complexes present in the food. So there are macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are the carbohydrate, fats, and protein, and form the main bulk of the food. And micronutrients are the vitamin and minerals. They are required in small quantity but perform the major function. And the requirement ranges from milligram to gram. And common micronutrients are iodine, iron, vitamin A, folic acid, zinc, vitamin D, calcium, and B complexes. So what is fortification? Fortification is a practice of deliberately increasing the content of one or more micronutrients in a food or condiment to improve the nutritional quality of food and provide a public health benefit with minimal risk to health. Nutritional content of a staple food can also be increased by fortification, and addition of micronutrient can help to restore the micronutrient content lost during processing and preservation process. Fortification is an evidence-informed intervention that contribute to prevention, reduction, and control of micronutrient deficiencies. It can be used to correct the demonstrated micronutrient deficiency in general population or in a specific population. So criteria for the effective food fortification, the intake of nutrients should be below the desirable level in the diet, and food used to supply the nutrient should likely to be consumed in quantities that will make a significant contribution to the diet of population in need. An addition of nutrients should not likely to be create an imbalance of essential nutrients. Nutrients should be stable under the proper condition of storage and used to preserve the quality. And the nutrients should be physiologically available for the body from the food, and there should be reasonable assurance against excessive intake to the level of toxicity. Other criteria are the food to be fortified should be edible thing and that is consumed by most of the population, and there should be no adjustment is physical property of food, and food should be of low cost product that can be purchased by the people from every section of society. So here come the types of fortification: mass fortification, targeted fortification, market driven fortification, and other types of fortification. Mass uh, fortification is done in a food that are consumed by general public, and the mass fortification is considered best when majority of population has an unacceptable risk, which can be public health risk related to the national nutritional deficiency. Example include the fortification of cereal, condiments, milk, oil, and vegetable. And this type of fortification is usually regulated by the government. Targeted population fortification is only done in those products that are specifically aimed at specific subgroup of population. Example is a complementary food for infant and young children, food for the school feeding program, special biscuit and other products for the small children, and the fortified food for the pregnant and lactating women. Market-driven fortification. In the market-driven fortification, food manufacturer adopts a business-oriented initiative to fortify the food with certain micronutrients. Although this sort of fortification is voluntary, the manufacturer must abide by the government set regulatory limit for the fortification. Market-driven fortification is more commonly found on industrialized countries as compared to the developing nations. So other types which are the household or the community fortification and biofortification. Household or community fortification refers to the fortification of food with one or more micronutrient at household level. This approach is considered as a combination of supplementation and fortification. Example is a multiple micronutrient powder or soluble tablets. And this method is effective where the universal fortification is not possible. It is more costly than the mass fortification. Biofortification of staple food. It includes the breeding and genetic modification of plants to increase their nutrient contents. Although this method of fortification seems to be sustainable, it still needs detailed research on safety, cost, and human impact. So advantages of fortification. Fortification helps to minimize or decrease the potential occurrence of micronutrient nutrient deficiency. Fortification helps to improve the dietary intake and nutritional status of an individual. Fortification is one of the most cost-effective procedures that can be executed on a bigger scale. Fortified food are better at bringing down the danger of different insufficiencies that can result from shortfalls in nutrition supply or low quality eating routine. It does not require an adjustment in the individual and utilization design. And the amount of micronutrient added to food is little and all around managed. And the probability of an overdose is far-fetched. Fortification is planned in such a way that intrinsic characteristic of food such as taste, appearance, and texture is not altered. So limitation of the food fortification. Food fortification may overshadow the importance of dietary diversity. So if it is considered as a long-term solution to the micronutrient deficiency, in some cases, especially in market-driven fortification, the manufacturer may fortify highly junk and relatively unhealthy food in order to attract the customer. These foods may have more negative effects than the positive one. So globally, nearly 90% of the global population is consuming salt with iodine, even though just 23 countries with the recent data have the coverage of 90% or higher. So in Pakistan, more than half of the women and children lack adequate level of essential micronutrients such as iron, folic acid, vitamin A and D. Poor nutrition and micronutrient deficiency in the childhood has profound effect on immunity, growth, and cognitive development. According to the recent estimates by the UNO and Education Organization, 37.5 million people in Pakistan are not receiving proper nourishment, and the country loses 3% of its GDP, about 7.6 billion US dollar every year due to high burden of malnutrition, which unfortunately has not changed from the last 4 decades. So Nutrition International, uh, it's a international campaign in collaboration with Mott McDonald, is implementing a large-scale food fortification program in 56 districts across Pakistan to support the national and provincial government fortification efforts. Widely consumed wheat flour and edible oil will be fortified with essential micronutrients to reduce the deficiencies in iron, folic acid, vitamin A, vitamin B12, and D, particularly among the women and children. So in this, we can see in that 2019, this collaboration helps us to increase the total production of fortified edible oil and wheat flour in Pakistan and ensure that more than 65 million people in the country had access to critical micronutrients. You can see 70% of the functional mills fortifying the wheat flour and 62.6 million people consume the fortified oil and 2.5 million people consume the fortified wheat flour. So in 2019, a delegation of the British company met with the DG Food Authority Punjab and discussed what the present condition of the fortification of oil and ghee and the future plan. DG said that all the oil and ghee brands are screened regularly biannually according to the survey of national nutrition. Almost half population is suffering from vitamin deficiency, but we can control on it to make a approved proportion of food content are made compulsory in the food commodities like oil and ghee and flour. So now come the food adulteration. Food adulteration can be defined as the practice of adulterating food or contamination of the food material by adding a few substances which are collectively called the adulterants. Adulterants are the substances or poor quality products added to the food item for economic or technical benefits. Addition to these adulterants reduces the value of nutrient in the food and contaminates the food, which is not fit for the consumption. And these adulterants can be available in all food products that we consume daily, including dairy products, cereal, pulses, grains, meat, vegetable, fruits, oil, beverages, etc. So causes of adulteration is the profit motive and the food insecurity, increase urbanization to make the maximum profit from the food item by fewer investment, high population demand, increased food demand of population and its changing trends, illiteracy of the general public, lack of consciousness of the proper food consumption, lack of effective food laws, and lack of government initiative. So methods of adulteration. So it's a mixing method, mixing of clay or stone pebbles. The substitution with the cheaper and inferior substances, which are being replaced wholly or partially with the good ones, and concealing the quality, trying to hide the food substances, adding the caption of qualitative food to the low quality for the selling. And decomposed food, mainly in the fruits and vegetables, the decomposed one are mixed with the good one. Misbranding or false brands, false label includes a duplicate food stuff, changing of the manufacturer and expiry date, and addition of the toxicants, adding the non-edible substances like arginine in the mustard oil, low quality preservative and coloring agents to the different juices or the jams. So these are the food products and adults and their harmful effects. So in the milk and curd, water and starch powder can be added, which can cause the stomach disorder. And in the ghee and cheese, mashed potato, vanaspati, and the starch powder can be added, which can cause GI disturbance and other stomach disorder. In the coffee powder, tamarind seed powder can be added, and it can cause diarrhea. In the black pepper, dried papaya seeds and blackberries can be added, which can cause severe allergic reaction, including stomach and skin irritation. And turmeric powder, pesticide residues, sawdust, chalk dust, industrial dyes can be added, which can cause stomach cancer, stomach disorder, and cancer. So the mitigation measure for addressing the food adulteration. So there must be proper surveillance of implementation of food laws. There should be monitoring of activities and periodical records of hazards regarding the food adulteration. And there should be periodical training program for the inspectors or for the analysts. And there should be consumer awareness programs organized by holding the seminar and training programs and publishing the pamphlets. And there should be strict action regarding the punishment for those who are involved in food adulteration. So anti-adulteration campaign in the Punjab is managed by the Punjab Food Department as per the vision of the Chief Minister of Punjab to ensure the safety and quality of food items for is the general public. And the existing mechanism which are used, the Pure Food Ordinance 1960, notified officer under the district. So strategies for the anti-adulteration campaign in Punjab. So the preparation and support by the food department to the districts and basic training of the master trainer from each district, information sharing with the district and guidance for hiring of the food testing lab and toll-free number for the complaint. So general power of the notified officer under Punjab Pure Food Ordinance, he or she can enter, detain, search, and take sample from any vehicle or the package of food. And he or she can seize and remove the food apparatus, and he can fine in a shape of ticket up to 3,000. So penalties of the adulteration in the Punjab. For the first offense, rigorous imprisonment for a term up to 1 year and fine of 100 to 2,000 Pakistani rupees. For the second offense, with rigorous imprisonment for a term that shall not be less than 3 months and it should not be more than 2 years, and fine up to 500 to 10,000 rupees. For a repeated offense or for the offenses of large scale adulteration or adulteration with the injurious substances, even in the first instance, with the rigorous imprisonment shall not be less than 3 years and should not be more than 5 years, and the fine will be between the 5,000 to 1 lakh Pakistani rupees. So here come the recent updates. The futuristic food fortification with a balanced ratio of dietary omega-3 and 6 fatty acids for the prevention of lifestyle diseases. In this article, we can see from the last 3 decades, the consumption of total and saturated fat has steadily declined in the Western diets. So at the same time, omega-6 fatty acid intake has risen at the expense of omega-3 fatty acid. So resulting in the higher ratio of omega-6 and 3 fatty acid, which can be 20:1 or higher, which should be normally 2:1 or 1:1. And in this article, due to this increased ratio, there's an increased prevalence of coronary heart disease, hypertension, cancer, diabetes, obesity, rheumatoid arthritis, or autoimmune or the neurodegenerative disorder. And so in the conclusion, a sustainable and cost-effective way of reaching large population with essential 3 fatty acid is fortification of the omega-3 fatty acid in the staple food. And this article also focus on the latest development regarding the dietary sources, innovative technologies, and the challenges of the food fortification with the omega-3 fatty acids. So the second article, it's the published on the March 2022. It's adulteration of the sugar. So in this article, with the we can see the with the rising need for the sugar to meet the demand of vastly growing population, adulteration also spikes as well. So it can also observe that sugar adulterants such as plastic, chalk, urea, washing soda, sugar substitutes, and other sugar products used to increase the packing weight, improve color and taste, and add moisture absorption, increase the process and lower the cost of production. So it concluded that and have given some recommendation that the development of sugar adulteration and data weight should be done, and increased government regulation should be done on it, periodic checks of the sugar in the market, education of the citizen, and the fabrication of the cheap and better detector should be done to tackle this problem. So it's time for the MCQs. MCQs number 1. Fortification is the addition of one or more micronutrient in a food. What are the benefits which can be obtained from it? To remove the unnecessary elements from the food, to decrease the usage of staple food, to improve the nutritional value of the food, to sustain the nutritional loss during processing, and to increase the usage of less nutritional food. Anyone? So the answer is C, to improve the nutritional value of food. Question number 2. A bread was fortified. Before fortification, it was having carbohydrates and protein content, which was 50 mg and 30 mg respectively. After fortification of iron, carbs, and protein content become 40 and 25 mg. Which criteria was not fulfilled for the effective fortification? Intake of the nutrients should be below the desirable level in the diet. Addition of the nutrients should not imbalance the essential nutrients. Nutrients should remain stable under proper condition. Nutrients should be physiologically available in the food. Nutrients should not cause toxicity after intake.
B.
Yes, the answer is B. Addition of nutrients should not imbalance the essential nutrients. Question number 3. A lady presented in OPD and was diagnosed with the vitamin D deficiency. After eliminating all the other organic acids, doctor advised her to take vitamin D fortified food. After the 2 months of food intake, her vitamin D level remains the same as it was before. What criteria was not managed by the company of the food? Intake of nutrients should not create imbalance in the essential element. Nutrients should be below the desirable level. It should be stable in a specific condition. Nutrients should be physiologically available from the food for the body, and nutrients should be in large quantity.
Delta.
Yes, the answer is D. Nutrients should be physiologically available for the body. Question number 4. According to UNO, about 37.5 million people in Pakistan are not properly nourished. Major section of this malnutrition is micronutrient deficiency. What kind of fortification should be done by the government to solve this problem? Biofortification, targeted fortification, mass fortification, market-driven fortification, or household fortification?
Beta, targeted fortification.
Uh,
C.
it's the C, mass fortification. When a lot of population, a big population is involved, the mass fortification is done. Question number 5. A British company delegation met with the DG Punjab Food Authority and ensured that the food fortification of ghee and wheat is done properly. After how much time mills are visited to assess the fortification? After 2 months, after every 4 months, after every 6 months, after every 8 months, and annually.
E, annually.
Annually.
It's after every 6 months. The mills are assessed biannually, so it's after every 6 months. Question number 6. Adulteration is a process in which unnecessary and the toxic substances are added to uh, food, partially or wholly, to replace the good one. A juice company was punished for adulteration in juice material. What can be the methods of adulteration in this specific scenario? Mixing of clay, substitution with the cheaper material, misbranding, addition of toxic and like coloring agent and preservative, and hiding the quality of food.
Delta,
Delta is the answer, addition of the toxic and like coloring agent. Question number 7. A person died in a hotel room with severe allergic reaction after eating food. In forensic report of the food, it was seen that black pepper was adulterated. What can be the adulterant used in the black pepper? Tamarind seed, argemone seed, dried papaya seeds, lead chromate, and colored grass seed.
B, beta.
It's a seed, dried papaya seed. It can cause a severe allergic reaction in the body. Question number 8. Asram started his new business of red chili in the Swan factory due to increased demand and to get more profit. He started adulteration with the red brick powder. Food authority catches him. What can be the penalty for him? Imprisonment for 1 year and fine of 1500, imprisonment for 2 years and fine of 8000, imprisonment, no imprisonment with a fine of 50,000, imprisonment for 10 years with no fine, and imprisonment for 4 years with a fine of 50,000.
C,
It's alpha. As he has started the new business, it was the first offense, so the imprisonment for the 1 year and the fine should be between the 500 to 2000 rupees. So question number 9. In the Western countries, consumption of the saturated fat had decreased. Ratio of omega-6 and 3 has increased. Due to this increased ratio, prevalence of increase of the heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity has increased. What can be the solution of this? Increase omega-6 intake, increase protein intakes, increase carbohydrates intake, fortification of food with omega-3 fatty acid to maintain the ratio, and adulteration of the food with omega-6 fatty acid.
delta.
Delta is the answer,
D,
fortification
Delta.
of food with omega-3 fatty acid to maintain the ratio. Question number 10. Nutritional International, in collaboration with McDonald, is implementing the food fortification program in Pakistan. In 2019, how many people consume fortified wheat flour? So it's 3.5 million. Was it 4.5, 2.5, or 70%, or 62.6 million?
C, delta.
Yes, C is the answer. 2.5 million was the people who consume the fortified wheat flour. This is the key, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muni. Very nice presentation, very informative, especially we know that food fortification is one of the key element where a lot of work still has to be done. And the adulteration is one of the factors that is causing a havoc with the health of our population. With Punjab Food Authority, we have discussed it several times, and in our last workshop that was in collaboration with Imperial College London and the Punjab Food Authority and other government organizations were there, as well as non-governmental organizations and international organizations like WHO and UNICEF. We all have the single most important concern